Hey, hi, how are you, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Red String series. My name is Mel McSherry. My pronouns are they, she. And welcome again, or possibly for the first time, to a series I created because I wanted to. Because red stringing, helping not only myself, but my clients as well, red string together what they want to how they are designed to bring it forward is what I do for a living. And I love to talk about it and I love to share about it and I love to teach about it. So each of these episodes are unfiltered, unedited, and are me. Hello. And today's the first episode with my new permed mullet. What do we think? I'm obsessed. She's a little crazy right now. Um, but it's definitely whoever said that hair services are not gender affirming care has obviously never gotten a permed full mullet before because I've never felt more myself in my life. But that's a little bit of the red string that we are going on today because I spent last week having many conversations with new connections, which was phenomenal. I am part of an amazing community called Hey Fam, which is a community and directory for queer-owned businesses. And I have met some amazing humans from that space. And a conversation thread that was repeating itself throughout my conversations last week was this idea of how that hardship equates success. And that being an entrepreneur is not easy, which it is not. I have been an entrepreneur since 2010. I grew up in the entrepreneurial world. So I joke around and say that I did not walk into this space with any sort of rose-colored glasses whatsoever. I've seen the absolute bottom of entrepreneurship, not only for myself, but also for, my father and us as my brother and I as we were growing up. And I've also witnessed the huge successes, again, not only in myself, but in what my father has been able to create for him and my mom as they enter into their 70s and beyond, right? And what's interesting is that there's a couple of different threads here, right? So there's this thread that we feel we have to work hard for our success. And yet, being an entrepreneur is rather simple. Your journey to creating what you want, the how in creating what you want is actually rather simple. But because it feels easeful in the beginning, we tend to not trust it. Right? We tend to not trust it just due to past experiences. We tend to not trust it because we get outside expert feedback that that's not the way you do things. And therefore, you start copying and pasting somebody else's format, somebody else's framework. And that is definitely part of my story. In fact, just today, I did a quick post in Hey Fam and on my socials because it popped up on my time hop yesterday that it was 10 years ago, this past weekend, that I traveled to Florida to train and receive my international coaching certification through John C. Maxwell and his team. And part of that certification is standing up and delivering a 5-minute talk. And it was my first time being a professional speaker and obviously doing that and receiving my coaching certification. It was a pretty big moment in my journey. And 3 years after that, I had earned and received my first six-figure income. 3 years after that, I had a massive nervous system breakdown, which compelled me, honestly, without any choice, to put my business on hold for almost a year and a half. And then 3 years after that, so today, I can confidently say I am the most confident in myself, the most holistically successful I have ever been in my entire life. And it's because I have been for myself, and again, this is what I do with my clients, red stringing myself, my want back to my how. each of us are specifically designed to create what we want in a specific way. Now, that doesn't mean we're all on our own islands, not being able to collaborate or learn from each other. But what that means is that we are not here to listen and watch the expert and then instantly reapply without even questioning what that means to us right away. And a lot of that is because we're not trained to ask ourselves first, right? I know for me and just the way that I'm designed, which I shared bits of that in my last episode of how open I am, right? So for me in my type as a projector and the way that how open I am through my centers, I can be conditioned very easily. And so understanding the duality between the wisdom behind some of that conditioning, because we do need to be conditioned a little, right? But also, where had I taken that conditioning too far against my natural cadence, my natural rhythms, my natural design? And so bringing that back is such an interesting journey. I recently had a reading with a new client, and one of the things that we kept coming back to is her lack of self-confidence. And the way that she is designed, I can see where that those stories come from, right? And we spent a lot of time in highlighting the strengths that she really does have. Like, no, that is your strength. The reason why, doing cold calls or doing some of these things that your mentor is asking you to do feels uncomfortable is not because it's a push outside of your comfort zone that's meant to expand you. It literally is against how you are naturally designed to share, to be, to call in and welcome opportunities. And I've seen this a lot with my clients, and I've dealt with this a lot with myself as well. Like, you hear it, right? You're like, oh, yeah, see, facts. See, I told you. And you can be in that space with somebody else. But once you shift into that space again with that same mentor, all of a sudden you're like, you go back to that second guessing, right? So continuing to spend time with yourself, continuing to deepen that self-trust of how you are designed to bring what you want to life is not a set it and forget it thing. And also, human design isn't the only tool out there. I use it as a lens. I use it as a directional guide, right? And then we combine it with a lot of different tools. In fact, I'm even partnering with two amazing practitioners, one who is an astrologist and one who is a Clifton Strengths expert, to show you exactly that these three amazing modalities that have been around for a long time can work cohesively with each other and can be supportive in their own, and they can be supportive together, because what it is it's the same information just presented in different lights, in different language. And so learning how to connect to yourself can be overwhelming because, again, some of us want to turn to a tool. Okay, so tell me, how do I connect with myself? Well, honestly, it's just learning how to sit with yourself. Like, before you can even, in my opinion, before you can even journey deep into a lot of these amazing tools, you gotta learn to just be comfortable with yourself. In fact, I I wrote a book about that. Let me see if it hold, please. So in 2020, I wrote this book called She Profits. And it is coined the outrageously simple, because as I mentioned earlier, it is pretty simple, 5-point entrepreneurial profit plan. By the way, this is available on my website, melmcsherry.com. It didn't really mean to go this direction to plug anything. However, here we are. And the reason why I wrote this is because I have a signature talk that I have been doing on and off since 2016. And it is what I like to call the amuse-bouche, right? Like the sample of getting comfortable with yourself and tuning into yourself in a way that is guided. There's action steps here, but also inspired. There's stories about me, there's stories about my clients in here. And the 5 points are really aimed at honoring your natural rhythms, taming your time, prioritizing your energy, because that's where this all started with me. How I naturally worked and throughout my years got pulled away from it. And now, again, am finding my way back to it in a stronger way is honoring my time and my energy management. So, granted, again, this is like all written down in my book, but I'm going to walk you through it anyway. So, you don't have to buy the book if you don't want to. If you do, bro. But the first step, and this isn't like a checklist thing, right? Like human design, it's how you use the steps in the ways that you need to use it in the time that you need to use it in. So they're meant to be interchangeable. But the first and most important thing that I always check in on myself and my clients is the question, what do I want? What do I want? And 85% of my clients have never really sat there and answered that question. Because when they do, there's a couple of things that happen. One, overwhelm, right? Where do I start with that? So you start small. What do I want to feel like at the end of the day? What do I want to accomplish today? What do I want to experience today? Right? You can make it as minute as possible to get you comfortable in that space. But also it starts to bring up as you look back on your journey, the ways that what you have been working towards wasn't really what you wanted. It was what your family wanted. It was what was expected of you. It was something that you chose because you wanted to be a certain person, not essentially what you wanted to create, right? We get caught up in kind of that dialogue. The latter was definitely for me. A lot of the things that I chose is because I wanted to prove something. Granted, bits of it were me, but I still had this driving factor of that I wanted it to prove something to someone. And when we get a little bit more clear and comfortable with naming and spending time with ourselves and asking ourselves, what do we want? Then it's looking at, okay, if this is what I want, what is the time that I have? And again, we're doing this like minusculely, right? Started baby steps, like what about Bob? Baby steps to the office, baby steps to the elevator, little bits. So after you sit there and look at, okay, what do I want? Then it's what is the time do I have? So for me, and this is a daily practice of mine, I wake up obviously in the morning and I check in. Okay, what do I want to accomplish today? What time do I have to work on that? And then I check in on my energy. Okay, how did I sleep? How do I feel? Do I have the energy for what is already on my calendar, meeting wise, project wise, what have you? If so, Brill. If not, what can I shift? Is it, do I reschedule meetings? Is it that I break down something that I want to do today into smaller bits? And from there, what's already on my calendar, what free time do I have to work on my business? And if so, what on my to-do list matches the time that I have and the energy that I have? And that's the part that a lot of us don't tap into. We think, well, I've got the time, I got to do it. My clients hear me say this often. You'll hear me say this often as well. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So what matches with the energy that you have, the capacity that you have, both time and energy wise, what on your to-do list matches those things? Because what that does is it gets you to start naturally respecting your design. We naturally work and live inside of our human design from day one. It is innate to us. It never changes. What changes is the dynamics that we experience, the environments that we have, our lived experiences, right? Our environments. That's what starts to shift us away from that natural design, sometimes for the better, sometimes not. And so when you come back to just like, you know what? I'm not a morning person. Why am I torturing myself to get all of this shit done by 9 a.m. when I would much rather start meetings at 11, take them till 6 o'clock, and then stay up till 2 in the morning ideating and creating? You are an entrepreneur. You have full say on how you spend the time that you have. I am a morning person. So my morning times are non-negotiable. I wake up at 5 a.m. before my entire family. I have my quiet time. I have my routines. And that is the way that I can just honor the fact that I am the most energetic and creative in the morning and afternoon. I am done taking calls by 3 o'clock. I'm done. If I need to take one later, guess what I do? I rearrange my morning schedule so I have the capacity to have that energy later. It is learning how to ebb and flow through your day to day because tomorrow is not going to be the same today. Today, this afternoon, or later today might not be the same it was this morning. And you have full say on how you can spend the time and energy that you have every single time. It's coming back to that trust of, ooh, this shifted. Okay. Now what do I want? Do I want to just survive the day? Brill. Then I'm not doing anything on my to-do list. I'm just attending the meetings I need to attend to, and then I am recovering after that. Did things get rescheduled and you have more freedom in your day? Brill. Look at your list. Now that you have a little bit more freedom and energy, what do you want to tag on that honors that, not pushes it, right? You can also rest. You can also be still. I say all the time that rest and action is still, like, rest is still an action step. Stillness is still an action step. So it's this retraining of our brain that consistency is the same thing that we do day in, day out, every single day. That's actually half of the definition of insanity. Okay. Consistency is up to you. What is your consistency? And by going back to some of the points in my profit plan from She Profits, it's a lot of P's. I do love alliteration. It is that ongoing question of, what do I want? What do I want? How am I feeling? Okay. Now that I know what I want, now that I know how I'm feeling, how much time do I have today? Okay. Now that I have those three things, what on my to-do list just completely honors that and encapsulates that. You're going to have some guilt moments. You're going to have some pissed off moments that you don't have the energy to do what you wanted to do, per se, that day. And it's going to get done. It's going to get done in the quality and the consistency in that quality because you are stepping into it when you have the actual capacity. And what you're doing is you're teaching not only your nervous system respects, but also you are being an energetic role model to those around you because you will start being more easeful in your day. You'll start creating success that is sustainable, not only sustainable, but most importantly, yours. You won't wake up and go, how the hell did I get here? Yay, 6 figures, but also, who am I? Right? Which, like in my story, this may not bite you in the butt where it takes you a year and a half to recover, but it's going to bite you in the butt, right? And then it's that recalibration. It's that resetting of, ooh, okay. Now that the universe has like flicked me, where did I go too far? What do I want? It always goes back to that question of, what do I want? How am I feeling? How can I honor both of those with what I have on my plates? And trusting that the consistency isn't necessarily the same thing that you do every day, 5 days a week, seven, blah, 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 right? Consistency is the quality and the respect of the energy and the time you take to connect to yourself and the quality of what you share when you have the capacity to do so. When we start coming back to our natural rhythms, when we start using those as non-negotiables, as boundary setters, as ways for us to customize our calendar, because we have full say on how we spend the time and energy that we have, even if you're in corporate, you still have freedom to arrange your day in order to arrange your deadlines and arrange your tasks so you still get everything done in the way that is best for you in the most sustainable way. But you do have full say. So if you have been spiraling, if you have been overthinking, if you have been having this conversation of, God, I really want to do this, but also everybody's telling me no, and it's just this like battle, come back to yourself and ask yourself, what do you want and don't judge yourself. What do you want? If you want a little more direction, definitely feel free to reach out. Get my book. It's $10, $9.99. There's an ebook and a paperback. But you really do have full say on how you spend the time that you have. And success is whatever you want it to be because you are designed for success, and you are designed in a specific way to bring it to yourself in a way that is easeful, in a way that is joyful, and in a way that gives you the confidence that even when life be life in, because it doesn't immune you from life, but even when life be life in, you have an anchor in what you know is true. You have a map that shows you the way, and you have the self-awareness and connection to deem it that what is yours and use it in a way that is most profitable to you mentally, emotionally, energetically, financially in that moment. All right, y'all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of day, evening, week. Whenever I see you soon, I can't wait to see you again. And if there's anything that I can support you on, I'm just a message away. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit notifications because I do these when I feel called. So hit the notifications so you make sure you don't miss an episode. And as always, if there's anything I can support you on, I'm just a message away. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Chat soon. Love you. Bye.